For some reason, your book doesn't talk about deadlock, which is one of the most interesting aspects of managing processes on computers. It is not the metal band from Germany, nor is it the online game. It instead describes a situation when a computer is absolutely, positively not going to get anything done, anytime, ever. I'm sorry, you've never experienced a Microsoft blue screen of death where nothing's ever going to happen again? Maybe you've experienced the never-ending hourglass. Or for you Apple guys, the pinwheel of death. The never-ending pinwheel of death. These are examples where you may have experienced deadlock in a computer. How does deadlock happen? Well, here's a simple case, and it takes advantage of your knowledge now of context switching. I've got two processes here, both of which were written to try and manage, let's say a radar and a guided missile launcher on, I don't know, an Aegis guided missile cruiser or something like that, and they are incoming. So, process 1 has got control of the CPU right now. He's looking for low-flying stuff. He reserves the radar. And, wouldn't you know it, his time slice was over, and so process 2 got... Process 2 reserved the launcher. And, time slice not over control, he reserves his radar. And, now he blocks, because he can't reserve the radar. Process 1 has got it. Well, let's give process 1 the CPU, maybe he can make some progress. He tries to reserve the launcher, but guess what? Process 2 has got it. So process 1 needs the thing that process 2 has got, and process 2 needs the thing that process 1 has got. Remember when we said you couldn't just wait for a free block in memory to show up and then page swap in? Same idea. In fact, this has vague overtones of the halting problem, doesn't it? More than you might think, as we'll see in a minute. Now, deadlock doesn't just happen in computers. There are parallels in real life, just like there are with the rest of process management. If you've never driven in Rome, you may never have experienced a true Italian traffic deadlock. But here's how it occurs. 4 cars come from 4 different roads at right angles and end up in this situation. There's a lot of honking of horns, there's a lot of gesticulation, who knows, there may even be some swearing. But nobody's going anywhere, ever. Now, New York has bigger roads, but you can get a traffic deadlock in New York the same kind of way. Don't block the box. Uh-oh, people have blocked the box, and you can see what's happening. No one's going anywhere, ever, anytime soon. In Westwood, we have our own version of deadlock called the Route 109 deadlock. Route 109 is a 2-lane road, a lot of people traveling on it, and it also has some shops on both sides of the road. This is a problem, as you'll see. Traffic is moving smoothly across Route 109 until someone headed to Millis decides to try and make a left-hand turn. And then someone headed to Boston tries to make a left-hand turn. Ta-da! The Westwood Route 109 deadlock, where nobody is going anywhere, anytime soon. Now, you might be thinking this is obvious. If people would just back up, we wouldn't have a deadlock anymore. Well, clearly you haven't driven in Rome, New York, or on Westwood Route 109, because you know that doesn't work. So instead, we might be tempted to blow someone up. And in fact, when things happen in computers with deadlock, that's typically what we do. We take a process that seems to be part of the problem, and we just blow it up. Or sometimes, if we're not smart enough to do that, we just reboot the whole computer. I don't want to talk about what that would look like on Westwood Route 109. But that's a solution, not a great solution, particularly if you have incoming missiles coming at you. So perhaps a better strategy is to try and prevent it. Now, as you can tell from our original missile example, if both programs would have just requested the resources in the same order, there wouldn't have been any problem. The problem occurs when the resources are requested in different orders. So you could just force everyone to request it in the same order, and you'd be pretty much guaranteed, in fact you would be guaranteed, that you wouldn't have any deadlock over resource conflicts. However, that can be extremely inefficient if maybe you only need one of those resources very, very briefly, and the other one for a long time, and your buddy in the other process is the reverse. you'd be preventing him from doing a lot of work while you're holding on to a resource that's only going to be needed for a very, very short period of time. So, it might be nice if the operating system could decide whether to grant a resource request or not based on whether it potentially could lead to deadlock. And now the key question, just like trying to figure out whether somebody's the shortest job or not, is how would you know whether it does or not? Well, guess what? In the general case, you can't, because this reduces to the halting problem. So that's deadlock, and I'll leave you with just one more example of deadlock in real life.